Well, for me personally, to be in the business of sport and to be involved in, it's my passion. It's for me something, sport is life for me. Sport is what turns me on, what makes me tick. Sport is the only true reflection today of untainted humanity in many ways. So and been a sportsman all my life, played rugby, nationally, played tennis. And at the time when I got into starting a sports management company, I still remember my father-in-law at that time, who turned around and said to me, "Bete, abhi ye sab theek hai khel kood ka. It's time you started doing some work." My father was in the army, and my mother was. Well, obviously before she got married, she was the editor of Eve's Weekly, and she was a singer on All India Radio. I don't think there was a business like this that existed before I kind of got in. I think as an industry, it really took form in the last 15 years, you know what I mean? Yeah. But I don't think there was anything before I got in that really had a thing called a sports management industry. But Procam has always been, we are more into sort of, we've always been a little different, cricket wasn't the way we got into it first, and Procam has built squash with his bare hands. Today we've got 4 or 5 players at the top 100, men and women combined in the PSA ranking. So we've done squash at the top level, we've done the world right up to the World Open. We were the ones that brought in WWE, and that is sportainment, to India for the first time in terms of television and on ground. Obviously, tennis was a huge change when we redefined the entire tennis structure of India from creating different sport properties and bringing in value, money, professionalism, and way more benefits to professional sportsmen. So things like rugby, we promoted rugby in India. We took India from 173 in the world. Today, I think we're at 74, and there's a whole bunch of people who helped in that process. Running is a great story. Today, by the grace of God, when we started, there was no running event in India. There was the Pune Marathon, yes, but there was no really running event in India. Today, there are 890 timed running events in this country with a $300 million, economic business behind it. So we were looking for a title sponsor for the Mumbai Marathon before we were privileged enough to stumble onto Standard Chartered. A very big brand, and a very big head of that brand came to me and said, "I've been hearing you, you've talked to me, I like your point, but let's start small. So instead of you want to be the biggest event in Asia, and you want to have live television, and you want to have Michael Johnson and Mike one, the best runners, and close the city down, and do this campaign. Yaar, bete, yahan to koi bhagta hi nahi hai. Chodo na, aasti karte hain. We'll start off small." So instead of you wanting, at that time I wanted 3.5 crores for that first event, plus. He said, "I'll give you 1.5 crores. We started 1.5, 1.75. And I said, "I can't do that." And this is after 2 years of running around trying to get that sold. I said, "I can't do that." And I knew where he was coming from. Anyway, I was leaving for the door, and he said to me one thing. He said, "You might regret saying no." And I turned around and I told him, I said, "Sir, more possibly true than not true. You are right, I may regret it, but understand one thing, sir. My mind tells me that if I don't do it this way, it's going to not work, or it's going to be 100 times harder. I don't have 100 chances. If this is what I believe, and could I be wrong? For sure. But I believe in this, that I need this to make it work. If I do it any less, it's not going to work." When we started that, it was very important to get that right. So any mistake, and it could have gone in many different angles. So it was very important. We were very lucky also, and it's such a brilliant city. In terms of challenges, it's challenges in every business. I don't think there are a specific set of challenges for us. I think it's getting better and better in many ways, and I think there's a way more scientific way of approaching this. And even if it's government, I think governments are basically positive. I mean, we can't do the Mumbai Marathon without the entire government machinery, blends in just more smoothly into it. And that's how you can create a perfect platform. Were there initial skirmishes? Were there initial resistance? Of course, and that's understandable. It's a lack of exposure and knowledge at that time. So sure, I mean, but finally to put it on, you need the government support, otherwise you can't put it on. So if you want to morph something, if you want to change, it's not easy. I mean, and sport could be a different communication vehicle. What works in America doesn't have to work in India. So just to give you a small example, when we started the running movement, a small example, is the fabric of sport. Because if you understand the fabric of sport, then nothing can really go wrong because the intention is very clear. It's $1 million question. But I'll put it this way to you. We are promoters. So what does a promoter mean? We don't organize events. We give birth to movements of strength. That's obviously the wish, and that's obviously the intention. We give birth to a concept, and we wish that the concept, like a child, grows into something that's successful and being and sort of becomes a relevant part of the world. We make a difference in the world. We are right now evolving in many angles, but we have 4 of the biggest running events in the world. The Tata Mumbai Marathon is, I would quite confident, the 7th largest marathon in the world. The Airtel Delhi Half Marathon is the #1 half marathon in the world. The TCS World 10K in Bengaluru is the World 10K, and the Tata Steel 25K Kolkata, which is first as an international event, and then hopefully we'll move that to the World 25K. So we've got 4 major brand speak events. P1, which is power boating, which is we've globally launched a global power boating scene, the complete different, the whole new reinventing every single touch point, and now we are creating a global series on that. So various other things we had television, we had different what you call brands that we built on. We are involved in sporting leagues and many other things. Even if professional athlete is thinking about money too, he's thinking about many things. So similarly, you as a business support have to think of money, because this is not a charitable organization. But that doesn't mean that at the cost of compromising a product. Brands will understand that. This is not an ROI game. Everything is not an ROI game. Sport is a very different philosophy. So of course, ROI is important. Everything there's an return on investment. We use it more in media and all that, but it's there in everything. We do deals, but we don't do it as a portfolio business. We don't manage and manage clients, but do we do deals for celebrities or any other brand endorsement deals? Yes, but they're one-off deals. If you ask anybody else, and not us, they would all say running, because running has really been one of the greatest stories, been the greatest change India has seen, one of the greatest successful movements that have taken place.
It's not fitness to the grassroots level, actually.
It's fitness is one part of it. We are based. It's about pride and prestige. It's about benefiting the Indian athlete. It's about communal harmony. It's about showcasing your brand to the world. This is about India's biggest showcase to the world is in the Tata Mumbai Marathon. And if you also look at what you call charity, just look what the difference. The running platform today has created a charitable platform we have raised in excess of 300 crores for over 700 NGOs. And each penny is what you call can be mapped as to where it came from. So anything can be done. It's just that you must have the intention to do it. There was a one-sided focus from media, from television, from sponsors. I think our entry and what we have managed to do today. Sport is so broad-based. Kabaddi is such a great success. Badminton is such a great. Football is such a great story. Every sport has got relevance today and has got its place. Look at boxing that's happened with other people. So it's now more broad. But I think yes, I wouldn't use that word credit, but I would definitely say we showed the world that you can do big things in other sports. It doesn't have to be cricket only. Love of sport does not mean business of sport. It's like just because I love music doesn't mean I can start singing or start playing an instrument or any such thing else. Just because I love something doesn't become what I can possibly do. So I think that's a huge fallacy and myth that exists in today's youth. Because sport has got lifestyle and it's got glamour and it's got glitz and it's an appealing thing and it's got a lot of great, all the great things that we all aspire to have and to be a part of as our world. But importantly, it's important for me to say this, that the love of sport and the business of sport is sun and moon. There are courses and many things that teach sports management and sports promotion. I think that's great. Not that I think, but I think there are certain qualities or certain inherent characteristics you need to have if you want to be successful in sport. What I was saying was that, look, is there some special degree to do to being in the business of sport? I don't think so. I don't know, maybe there is. But I don't care about these degrees because degrees are not even worth the paper is written on sometimes. So it's about you as an individual. For me, as long as you are keen to make a difference in the landscape of sport and are charming and you love what you do and you're willing to fight for that love, it can either be taught or can be learned, can be picked up. There is no formula. You have to be true to what you believe in. You're getting into it because you want to make a difference. I don't care how small that difference is. I've had more sleepless nights than sleepy nights. No, I sleep in 2 minutes. I put my head on the bed and that's the great boon that God is. I sleep in 30 seconds, I'm out. Doesn't matter how, what, which and where. So, hey, you know what? It's for every business, it's the same. Somebody in chemical will have equal sleepless nights that I will have, probably more. So he's got union problem. He may have any other things. But hey, you know what? Everybody is the same in that sense. There's nobody this and that. I just think you need to have a certain characteristic. It doesn't necessarily apply. It applies if you look at any business, you have these 4 characters, you're true to it, you're willing to do a good job and you're willing to lay your life down and you believe it and you want to create a landmark. It's the same thing for any business. In that 1 hour of a game or 2 hours of a game, not only the player, but even the viewer will go through a myriad of emotions. There will be celebration, joy, despair, anger, vociferous, sort of belligerence, if I may put it that way, sadness, sympathy, empathy. What can give you that? And in real time, it's not a movie that I'm creating these emotions from a script and through emoting. You need to understand that you have to be true, but yet revolutionary, and yet you've got to be able to think on your feet at all times. And everything changes. What it all means, if you're true to the ethos of sport, if you're a true believer that you're doing it to better things, whether it's your talent, whether it's financial, whether it's positioning, whether it's fame, whether it's recognition, whether it's growing from this level to that level, as long as you're true to the journey of what you're undertaking, you will always find the right way to go about it. I think it's fantastic. I think it's growing every day. I just would love to see people get more involved and spend a little time being part of sport and then get into the business of sport. Doesn't matter, but get onto the ground, feel that touch. If I could, I would make every person be part like a team manager or a water boy of a team or a thing, because you've got to hear them talk, feel, think, what. It's a very different thing, and then when you come into the club boardroom, you'll realize the difference.